As-salaam wa-alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Year 6 of the 17 Verses podcast. I'm your host, Maher Haq. In this podcast, we take a small selection from the Quran every day and recite it to you in plain English, so you can get a small slice of God's Word while you go about your day. By averaging 17 verses per day, we're able to break the Quran down into manageable pieces and finish it in 1 year. If you enjoy the podcast, please help spread the word. Tell your friends and family, subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts, and write us a review. Show notes and a text episode can be found at 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Today's selection concludes Surah 70, ãrij, or the Ways of Ascent, verses 36 through 44. These verses assert that paradise is not for the disbelievers, and that their eyes will be downcast and their countenances distorted with shame on the day of judgment. Tafseer for the selection addresses the animal part of man in verse 39 and the overall tone of this set of verses. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. What is the matter with the disbelievers that they are rushing towards you from the right and from the left in groups? Are they each seeking to enter the garden of bliss? By no means, for we have created them out of the base matter that they know. But nay, I swear by the Lord of the Easts and the Wests, that we have the power to destroy them, and replace them with others better than them, and nothing can hinder us from doing so. Therefore, leave them to plunge in vain talk, and blunder about until they face that day of theirs which they are being promised. The day when they shall rush forward from their graves, as if they were racing towards a goal, with downcast eyes and countenances distorted with shame. Such will be the day which they are being promised. Ameen. Now, concerning the overall tone of this selection of verses. Quote, the unbelievers did not believe in a hereafter. When the bliss of the hereafter was described as in verse 36, they ridiculed it and pretended to be running in it as in a race. They are here rebuked in the same tone of sarcasm. Unquote. Lastly, concerning the animal part of man in verse 39. Quote, the animal part of man is nothing to be proud of, and they know it. It is by spiritual effort and long preparation through a good life that a man can rise above the mere animal part of him to his high dignity as a spiritual being, and his noble destiny in the hereafter. Unquote. Thank you. This concludes today's episode of the 17 Verses podcast. I hope that this selection helps increase your understanding of the Holy Quran just a little bit. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher and write us a review. Or you can grab the RSS feed and put it into your own podcast app. The show notes, including a text version of this episode, can be found by going to 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Thank you, and be well.